do you disagree with that being a furry is fine?
Because it's not. If I'm right, furry is acting like an animal or believing you're an animal, isn't it? Or
No, you
dressing
just
up.
said
No, sorry. Dressing up as one. Dressing up as one.
you're already confusing yourself. Number one, yeah, you're right. You can act like an animal. It doesn't necessarily mean that you think you are an animal.
Yeah, sorry. I was getting confused with that other one.
Cosplay is a much better word than act. I think cosplay is because it's more to do with costumes and you wear furry mask and it's just a hobby. So what exactly is your issue with people enjoying hobbies that hurt no one?
It's a little bit weird. In my opinion, at least I think loads of people's opinions.
Okay,
You're walking down the street and you see this giant.
Just listen. Stop. I don't need you to go on monologue. Number two, yeah, Divine Order, yeah, we'll see. But anyways, the point is this. Just because you find something weird, although you have no reason to find it weird, but even if you did find it weird, doesn't make it wrong. Okay, so you need to tell me why you find it to be wrong. And I think the best way to do that is where the harm is being caused, who's being harmed, why do you find it to be wrong?
I find it to be wrong because you're not an animal. I don't understand why people dress up as one. Sorry?
So why is that an issue? Just like on Halloween, I want to dress up as a witch, although I'm not a witch, or I want to dress up as...
That's different, though. That's completely different.
Just listen, 1 second, young lady. Yeah, for example, I want to dress up as, I don't know, Superman, although I'm not Superman. Why is that such an issue that someone just wants to dress up for fun? What exactly is wrong with you that you have an issue with it?
Because majority of the time they are genuinely acting like an animal.
Okay,
and it's weird. It's literally disturbing.
Why is that? How is it disturbing? People acting how they want to.
I've seen furries. Don't get me wrong. I've seen furries. I've like in where I am.
My question. Just listen. How is that wrong? Them doing a hobby. What exactly is wrong with doing a hobby? Can you explain that for me? Appreciate the gifts.
It is weird. That's what I just said. It is wrong because one, you are not whatever you call an animal.
Okay, and we just established that just listen. We just established that dressing up as someone think which you're not, there's nothing wrong with that. So tell me exactly again what is wrong with that. Because if I dress up as, I don't know, a crocodile for fun, although I'm not one, why is that an issue? Like, you're not making sense. It's not adding up. So being a furry, can you explain to me what the actual issue is? Thank you for the gift.
It's creepy. It's very disturbing.
Okay, so
you're just like I said before, which you didn't let me finish majority of the time.
Repeating yourself over and over again with 1 second, young lady. Don't interrupt. You're just repeating yourself over and over again. You don't have a valid point. There's no harm that's being done. Could you tell me the harm that is being done? I asked you that very simple question. Where is the harm that's being done?
What if the furry's barking at someone? Then what?
Okay, that would be harassment. Just like if they weren't a furry.
And majority of the time they are doing that. They are.
That's not true whatsoever, ma'am. You don't have a
single... Yes, they are.
Do you have a single repeatable source that backs up what you're saying?
Search it up on TikTok right now. Furry barking at someone. I dare you. Go on.
TikTok does not constitute as a source. So again, I ask you, do you have an actual valid source that backs up what you're saying? Appreciate the gifts.
What, you want me to genuinely search up on the web someone barking at someone dressed as a furry?
1 second, ma'am. This is what we call selection bias. If you're looking at a select few and extrapolating it to every single situation, that's selection bias. So you're clearly wrong. You have no good reason.
How am I meant to show the clip, though?
Just listen. 1 second. It's not about showing a clip. You have no good reason to not like furries or disagree with it.
I do.
1 second. You're just bigoted and you're furry phobic because you truly don't even understand what you're saying.
Furry phobic is genuinely insane.
No, it's not. And if you had an actual reason, it wouldn't be that case. Appreciate the gifts. Hey, how old are you, buddy?
I am 49.
What do you want to debate?
Hey?
What do you want to debate?
I don't know. I've been furry in line, trans being a being, spanking his beast. I'll go
Which one do you want to debate? It's not difficult. Pick one and we'll debate it.
I want to debate all three.
Right, stop.
Where would you like to begin?
Start with one.
Being furry is fine.
What's wrong with being a furry?
It's a psychological illness, isn't it?
How is it a psychological illness? If I dress up as, I don't know, a Pac-Man on...
I dress up as a car running out into the road. Is that okay?
Don't interrupt me. 1 second,
No, shut up.
One second, my dear boy. Just let me help you out. If I dress up as, I don't know, Superman on a Halloween, does that mean I have a mental illness? Hello? Can you unmute your mic? Do you even have the ability to know how to unmute your mic? Appreciate the gifts. Hello? No? Okay, let's move on to the next person. Everyone double tap the screen. Hey, how old are you?
Do you not remember me?
No. How old are you?
I'm 19.
What do you want to debate?
Okay. Okay, Jazmen are men.
Okay, why do you disagree?
How can they be men?
Because it's someone who has a desire to be in accordance with traits typically
Do
associated
they have a
with.
dick? Do they have a dick?
I don't define that
Do
based
they
on
have a
biology.
penis?
I don't define
Do they have
men.
a penis? Do you have a penis? Do you have a penis? Do they have a
You
penis?
hear what I just said?
Wait, I didn't mean.
You're just laughing too much. Not serious. Let's move on to the next person. Like, I need someone who can actually just stop laughing for 2 seconds. None of this is a joke. Hey, how old are you?
I'm 18.
What do you want to debate?
I would like to debate about the spanking as abuse. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Okay, why don't you believe spanking to be abuse?
Well, I'm not necessarily saying the whole concept is abuse. Like, what if my child does something that is, like, so bad that they deserve a punishment for it? Let's give an example, right? Of course, when a child is developing, they are prone to doing things that will get them into trouble, right?
Listen, spanking is never going to be a reasonable option or a reasonable consequence for this child doing something wrong. Maybe speaking to them if they do something that you don't like is probably the better option. The same way you probably speak to your wife or someone else if they did something you didn't like. Spanking is just a foolish option for people who can't control their emotions and are just too brain dead to be able to actually do something effective.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying that I would normally use spanking. Like, I'm not like that.
It at any point is wrong. Just like if I have a partner and they do something, if I hit them at any point, that is wrong. There's no justification.
Yeah. But the difference is that they're adults. That would be domestic violence, sir.
In the same way with children, it can be domestic violence. Just like if you grape another adult, it's still grape. If I grape a child, it's still rape. Doesn't make it not the case just because it's a child. You do understand that. If I assault a grown adult, that's assault. If I assault a child, it would even get a higher sentence because they're a child. It's even seen as worse to do it to a child. So tell me exactly why you love hitting children, please.
Who said I liked hitting children?
You're justifying spanking. There's no situation that's ever justified to lay your hands on a child. But you seem to want to give me some silly reason. So go ahead.
Well, I'm not being aggressive. I mean, I was spanked when I was a child.
Okay, that's like me saying I was raped when I was a child, so we should all allow rape for children. It's perfectly okay. Just because it happened to you, not necessarily as being okay or not abuse. So again, do you have a justification for assaulting minors?
First off, you're putting and labeling me as someone that is completely okay with child abuse, and now you're saying that.
Definition of assault.
And now you're saying that.
What is the definition of assault?
Why are
You answer the
you?
question of what the definition of assault is.
Well, first off, why are you comparing rape to spanking?
Why can't you answer a very simple question? I just asked you what's the definition of assault.
The assault is when you put your hands on someone.
Yes, when you physically attack someone, and I said you're assaulting minors because again, a minor is someone typically in most countries under the age of 18, and so essentially we are talking about children in this context. So you would be assaulting minors, and I'm comparing it to rape because they're very similar, very similar concepts in that you're unconsensually causing physical harm to someone. That will cause them a lot of pain and can have very bad long-term effects. And all the studies indicate, from National Institute of Health especially, that spanking has bad long-term effects.
Well, I'm not here to be aggressive towards you. You know, you're kind of giving me
Can you
like.
actually address the point? I don't care. Can you address the point?
What was your point again?
And that has long-term effects, physical punishment of children. You can look up the study by the National Institute of Health on PubMed Central, and it shows that they're more likely to be criminals when you physically punish children. They're more likely to grow up in worse environments, have longer issues. Just like in the case of rape, they have psychological issues that are really harmful. In the same way, spanking your children, it shows that it has very negative long-term effects, which makes sense. And in what world did you ever think that assaulting minors was ever going to lead to good things? But for some reason, you seem to disagree with the massive amount of sources and studies that show that disciplining your child through abuse, through spanking, is actually very negative.
All I'm just going to say is I've been very respectful, but I'm just going to leave because I just keep you for a very respectful debate. You labeled me as someone
Are
who
you going to
likes.
address my point, or are you just going to keep
No,
going? I've given you the
I
sources.
will not. I will not address you any further.
Why do you believe it is okay to assault minors? Can you please tell me instead of wasting my time?
I never said I liked assaulting minors. Sorry.
Okay, so what's your justification for spanking? Okay, that's literally what spanking is. You usually assaulting a minor. I mean, it doesn't have to always be done against the minor, but in most cases, that's typically the case. Annie ran away. Annie ran away. I would run too. I would honestly run too if I was, you know.
Hi,
assaulting minors. Hey, how old are you?
I'm 19.
What do you want to debate?
Sorry?
What do you want to debate?
The furry one.
Why do you believe being a furry is fine?
No.
Why is that?
It's a bit odd, don't you think?
No, I don't see the reason. The way, and I'll admit that morality is subjective, but the way I establish something being wrong is I usually try and identify a negative aspect it's having on that person or society as a whole. So can you tell me how someone cosplaying, wearing a furry costume in their free time, something they want to do, is causing harm to anyone? Can you show me how that's the case?
Because sometimes it doesn't, like, it's not just in the free time. Sometimes it is genuinely all the
Okay,
time.
so they walk around in a furry costume. What exactly is the issue?
And not only that, some people, from being a furry, then believe they have become part of that animal and they believe they are that animal.
That's not all people. Just like some black people believe a lot of harmful things, doesn't mean all black people do. So again, you're trying to group the whole group into just because a small subset do certain things, and that's a very flawed way of thinking. So again, do you have a justification as to why you're furry phobic or bigoted against furries?
And I also think that the spanking part is not abuse. But I do believe beating your child is wrong. 100%. You should not do that. That inflicts trauma. But,
Okay,
but-
you just pivoted, but sure.
but if that child has done something extremely wrong towards, like, say, a woman, a child, etc., that is when I would definitely hit my child to the back of the head.
You sound like a fool trying to justify assaulting minors. Very silly of you, but let me help you out. Let me educate you. Number one, that's not helping anything. You're only teaching them that violence is okay, probably making the issue worse, and all the data agrees with that. You can look up the National Institute of Health. They've done plenty of studies, other myriad of studies that show that the long-term effects on this is very bad. You probably be raising a criminal, and I don't think that assaulting women or children is somehow worse than even assaulting other men. I don't think assaulting anyone in any way, shape, or form is okay, and so you're completely wrong. So again, do you have a reason as to why you not try and use a better method than causing issues for your children?
Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it's just what they need. They need to be taught, no, that is wrong. And my parents have come to the point where they've snapped.
Listen, have you abused your child so much to the point where they don't understand English?
No.
Exactly. So why don't you use your words like you are to me and tell them, hey, that's wrong, instead of assaulting them, which is
No,
not.
obviously, you'd go through the steps. You wouldn't straight up do it unless it was something extremely wrong.
Do it at any point, just like I wouldn't grape my child at any point to teach them anything. It's
You do
simply
not
wrong.
just compare
Yes, I
grape
did
to
just
hitting a
compare.
kid.
Let's look at the two. Assaulting your child and raping your child. In both cases, you're unconsensually causing physical harm to your child that could have very negative long-term effects. All the data indicates that. So yes, I did just compare that because all the data indicates that they're very comparable things. So again, do you have any reason that shows that spanking is good for your child? Do you have any research, or are you just making it up and being verbose?
Pal, that's the stupidest thing I've heard all day, because one is sexual and the other is physical, right?
I agree, but no, one is both sexual and physical. The other's just physical, but I don't think the basis of it, just because you're angry, makes it okay to assault your child. Physical.
Right.
So there's no justification for assaulting your child. Could you explain it to me?
Right, so how it would work is, I know for sure, as I've been growing up, I have been like spanked and everything as such, and I turned it just fine because I did.
And some people.
Hold on, I'm not done.
Just 1 second, my dear boy. Just pay attention.
Yeah, boy.
Just listen. Just be quiet. Just listen. You're having trouble following on, so let me help you out. Some people get raped and they turn out absolutely fine. That doesn't make it okay. So whether you turn out fine or not does not indicate whether the action is okay or not. So again, and I'd argue that you didn't turn out fine if you think that assaulting minors is acceptable. So again, I'll ask you, what is your justification for doing such a deplorable act?
Right. I'm going to say straight. Stop interrupting. I didn't
I
finish
just
the point.
forget what you were saying. You said that I turned out